What did you think about Ghurkos, the president of Boravia? What did you think about that character, the performance, the characterization, and the fate he ultimately meets?
Yeah. So I've seen people saying that it's a one-to-one comparison for Netanyahu. I wouldn't go as far to say that it's one-to-one. Are there overlapping themes? For sure. Absolutely. I don't love the performance because it was caricaturesque. Also, I had problems with the fact that there's a long-standing issue in especially these sorts of movies and animation movies where when there's a villain, there's an attempt to portray them as an Eastern European. And so even his accent, his crazy hair, all of that sort of stuff was very much, we've seen it a few times, find it a bit problematic. Having said that, are there governments that have that sort of motivation in real life? Absolutely. And I think we've already alluded to a number of them. And there are more as well. Politicians tend to be informed by their own egos, it's true. And there are all sorts of wayward agreements that are happening on a geopolitical level between governments and funding. So whether that's rich, high net worth individuals, whether it's companies, to pay for military action, right? Because war is very expensive, guys. War is very expensive, right?
And there's a lot of money to be made.
There's a lot of money to be made. And as someone with a chemistry degree, I had the option to go into the defense industry, and it's something I rejected ultimately. But yeah, so whenever there's a war, there's someone paying for it. And so naturally, when you see a government going to war, there's an agreement somewhere. So I do think it was good that this movie portrayed that. Having said that, your last question was around his fate, right? And his fate was actually one of my favorite parts of the movie. And here's the reason why. I don't love the way how women are portrayed in this movie. But when I see Hawk Girl and her badassery in that moment, where he says to her, "Oh, you're not going to kill me. You're too weak." And she says, "Is it?" And drops him to his death. I loved it. I loved it because it was juxtaposed with Superman, who I do consider to be a bit too on the soft side. I think historically, when we've had these sorts of characters, they have been taken out with violence. So I'm glad that they had a woman come in and just do what had to be done, basically, because Superman wasn't going to do it.
The thing about the Eastern European shady villain trope
Mm.
in movies is very true. I was very tickled by how the movie was trying to make sure they covered their back for not being accused of too directly shoehorning a real life character by making sure he aesthetically doesn't look anything like Netanyahu. They were intentionally muddying the waters in that way. The people in Jaranpur, both in appearance and the name of the area, are giving Pakistan a bit. They're giving Kashmir a bit. It's giving some South Asian elements to intentionally make it that you can't directly point at his character
Mm-hmm.
and say,
Yeah.
you are saying that we just killed this person because he is committing war crimes. Full stop.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Found that very amusing. I want to talk about Lex's relationship with him
Mm-hmm.
because again, Lex is so obviously an Elon Musk esque character to me, so I couldn't help but continuously draw parallels. Elon Musk is currently pouring in a lot of money to try and get involved in the elections happening in the UK going forward,
Mm-hmm.
like he
Mm-hmm.
did with the US elections. And those are just the ones we know of. I'm sure there's even more in all
Mm-hmm.
sorts of countries. We know that Facebook has been directly or indirectly involved in the toppling of entire regimes in countries in the world and
Mm-hmm.
inadvertently even caused coups. So the concept of a billionaire locking hands with dictatorial figures is an interesting concept to explore. After Superman is essentially kidnapped by Lex, and Gurkos is there, and he's saying to Lex, "Excellent job, well done with the trick of having the video sent out that says that his parents wanted Superman to come here, colonize the planet, and create a harem." And Lex says, "Oh, it's not fake." And he really says, "Oh, of course it's not. Excellent." I enjoyed seeing them show how even world leaders and dictators are sycophants to billionaires. Whatever you say goes, and how
Mm-hmm.
embarrassing it can be, and how weak it can be.